Hi everyone, here is Team 7 and we are doing a COVID-19 sentiment analysis. Today, Pei and me gonna do the presentation for you guys and let's jump right in. And next slide, please. So first, I'm gonna talking about the motivation why we want to do this. So as this code says, the big data is valuable assets for understanding people's sentiment regarding current events. So especially during the pandemic, social media like Twitter and Instagram play essential roles in health agency, like government organization, hospital, and etc. to disseminate information in timely and update manner. So on the other hand, social media can also spread negative emotion and misinformation. So by doing this sentiment analysis on this information on social media based on big data, we think we can better know in people's attitude towards COVID-19 so we can take action in advance to help more people during the pandemic. Next slide, please. There's 5 sections we're gonna talking about. The first one is about data cleaning, and then we move on to exploratory data analysis, then hashtag visualization modeling, then some future improvement. Next slide, please. The first one I'm gonna talk about is the data cleaning. Next slide. First, we pre-process our dataset by converting all the text data to lowercase and removing all the special characters, number, and etc. Then we drop in the unrelated columns and filtering by its language because the majority of the language in the dataset is English, so we focus English only. Then we delete all the rows that have duplicated entries, so then we can work on the unique data points. Now I'm gonna hand over to Pei to talking about the rest of the presentation.
So next we did some exploratory data analysis, trying to discover more insights in our data set. So this is just a distribution of the tweet tone, distribution of language. We see that English is dominant. And here we did distributions by country, and US is dominant. We did more exploratory data analysis by its source type. So here we can see that by percentage, news sort of had the least negative tones. And for more visualizations, we're trying to see if the high frequency words can give us any insights about people's attitudes towards COVID-19. So we mentioned that we tokenized our words and we sort of ranked their frequency in both the positive tweets and the negative tweets. And we did a simple box plot, a simple histogram of their frequency. And there are quite interesting ones in here, like jobs and lockdown. We also saw vaccine, UK, Biden or Trump. We also did a hashtag visualization where we sort of use regular expression and then extract the hashtags from the tweet. And we did more visualizations on that. So what was interesting was that we were trying to find some of these hashtags on the net, on Instagram, and it seems that a lot of these Instagrams are really they don't really have any meaning. So we sort of reached to the conclusion that these are probably people just sort of seeking more exposure for their posts. And we did more word clouds, just some visualizations on both the positive and the negative. And you can see that vaccine is mentioning both the checked positive and the negative tweets here. So for our modeling, we did a supervised techniques. We used 2 vectorizers, and we also used naive Bayes and random forest. After we compare each of those 2 models, see whichever one performs better, then we pick the better performed one, and then we find its parameters. So random forest with the TF-DIF vectorizer has the highest accuracy and F1 score in our sentiment analysis model. So we reached 79% for both the accuracy and F1 score. So we do recognize that our project is not perfect, and we want to mention room for improvement. So these are just a couple of areas we thought it was interesting to see if we had more time. One of them is correlation among the hashtags. So obviously this is a COVID-related data set. I think it would be more interesting to find what are the other hashtags that are related to hashtag COVID. And maybe from there we can discover more insights. And we also wanted to try unsupervised techniques such as LDA. And from there we can discover some of the common topics in the text. And we also wanted to try time series plotting. So there are specific events, such as the Capitol attack, on one of the hashtags that we found. We wanted to try to see if it matches the timeline. And lastly, for our modeling, we would wish to incorporate the scoring that we're using from the text block package, see if they improve our model. And that's it for our presentations.